So this is Elliot Scott from Splatterfilm 69. Here we are flying with WestJet from Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada to Calgary, Alberta, Canada for the Fascination Asian Film Festival. So here are two ladies who are actually going to be the victims in one of our next feature films that are coming out. We're going to be filming in and around the Calgary area here in Alberta. And so what's your name?
Battle Miss.
So this is Battle Miss, and this is
Hazard.
This is Hazard, and they're from a modeling group called
Hazardous Material.
Hazardous Materials. So they came here to check us out. They thought we were swell people, and they decided that they were cool of having a grizzly kill them in a movie. So here we are taking pictures and videos of our grizzly. So we'll see you in the movies, and remember, go to the movies, watch the shows, keep filling those theater seats, because that's what we need when we need people to make movies, especially independent movies. And remember to support independent artists from all over the world, especially at a film festival like this, Fascination. They've been here for 5 years now in Calgary. They're a newer film festival that they support Asian entertainment from all over the world. So come down to the Public Library in Calgary, May 2nd from 10 till 3. We're here all day.
Fabulous.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Hey everybody, I'm Dynamite Karate Ninja, and just to answer a question outright, I chose that name because it was the single most ridiculous thing I could think of. And so I started making comedy music after a tragedy in my family. I was widowed, and after a couple of months I needed to laugh again, and I picked up this guitar and bought a ukulele of all things and just started strumming in my living room after the day was over. And I would come up with the most ridiculous lyrics, and it would make me laugh. And then eventually that led into full-fledged songs, and I would share them with my friends, and they said, "This is really funny. I think this is good for you. Keep going." So fast forward about 2 years later, and I've got like 80 of these things, and one of them is a song called Skunk Ape. And it is about a Wikipedia article that I read about the Florida skunk ape, and that's where the line, "kind of like Bigfoot, but not that great," came from. That was the first part of the song, and I was like, that's pretty funny. I came up with that line while reading the article, and then the rest of the song followed after that. And I recorded it, put it out on an album onto, the cloud and God knows where else, and I just thought, it won't amount to much. And so a year or two later, I'm Googling Dynamite Karate Ninja just to see if anybody noticed, and I find that it's got a IMDb credit for a movie called Skunk Ape, and I thought, I don't remember that at all. So I looked it up, and I reached out to Splatterfilm 69, and that's how I got in touch with Elliot. And he sent me a message saying, "Dude, we've been trying to get in touch with you this whole time. We loved your song." And they put it in the movie, and I was completely floored. So I called him, and we talked on the phone for about an hour or two, just about life, the universe, and everything. And he asked if I could help him with another song, so he sent me some lyrics. And I thought about it for a while. I sat with it. I came up with the music, and I recorded it, sent it to him, and I said, "Can you use this?" He goes, "Absolutely, yeah." And then out of the blue, again, he calls and says, "Can you play some guitar for us, and can you record a video talking about how all this came about?" And that's what this video is, and I'd like to thank you for watching it.
All right, we're here with a director and a producer and a writer, so I'd love to have you introduce yourself for the camera.
Hello, so I'm Elliot Scott, and my film production company is called Splatterfilm 69. And what we do is we want to take great classic monster movies combined with a new sort of feel of adding Asian influence within the monster films. So, as well as adding different languages and cultures and everything within the monster films. So something a little, when people think of like monster movies, they don't really think of like, unless you're thinking, it's the mortician or the autopsy, the classic like Asian role, and I like to take people out of those roles and put them into more like, you're capable of doing anything. It doesn't matter what race or culture you are. So let's do that in film too. It's sort of
Amazing. So you were here as an exhibitor. You had a booth, and so what brought you to Fascination?
we were here last year, and we're here the last few years, and we were sort of like helping out and everything because like most of my cast and crew, like people behind the camera, literally like quite a few of them used to work for like TVB News. So everyone has an Asian languages within my company. So even myself, as like all the top people, I'm the only white person in the top tier. Everyone else is like Chinese or Korean or Japanese. So we're a big mix of everything. And like even like mixed cultures and stuff. Like you have a lady that she's half Irish and she's half Japanese, and you know, I just believe in putting all of that within a film, and you can do it within a film. Like even one film I did, I had like 7 languages spoken in one film. Like everything from like Tagalog to Japanese to Korean to Mandarin to Cantonese, and then adding the subtitles for each language and how you would write that language, whether it's characters of Japanese or Chinese or traditional, and then put your English on the bottom. So people kind of liked that you were sort of like not just seeing a face, you were also seeing how that culture represents itself in a sense. And yeah, that's what I was trying to do.
That's awesome. And something I learned as we were chatting earlier is that you've got some Guinness World Records on the way.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records. It's going to be published in the next records, and it's going to be for the feature film with the most live animals filmed in the movie that's not an animal documentary. So it actually has 127 animals. So everything from a lynx to a coyote to a wolf to a cougar, and not like the ones you'd pick up in a bar late on a Friday night, like a real like 6-foot long cougar. Like the tails on those things are like half the size of their body. I didn't realize that. They'll knock you down if their tails too. But yeah, and then we had like owls, and I was like, and then everyone's like, okay, owl. So owl is motoin, which is like Chinese for owl. And then like, we were kind of like doing a word game guessing within different languages. Like, well, how do you say owl in like this language?
Yeah.
And we're just sort of playing around with it. But we worked with like the Vancouver Zoo, and we're working with the Amphibian Sanctuary, and like all these different associations, like Rabbit Rescue, like places where animals are usually there because they were in a bad situation. So we kind of gave them like freedom in a sense, because they ended up right in the real wild again. So a lot of the animals, I think they really like that, especially the birds. Like the birds were flying from tree to tree, and it was taking the animal wranglers like more time to bring them in sometimes because they were really enjoying the park.
That's amazing. Our last couple of questions here. So you've done some filming semi recently over in Japan. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, filming in Japan is actually going to happen later this year, almost towards the end of this year. But first, because we're going to be in the same area, we're first flying to like Wuhan, China. So we're going to film in China, and we're going to film the Yiren, which the Yiren is kind of like China's version of Bigfoot. So, and we're going to make that movie very different. So it's going to be kind of like the big, tall Yiren monster is just kidnapping all the girls and carrying them off into a cave, and then a bunch of like local police with like myself literally have to go in and save the girls kind of thing. So it's going to be a different sort of movie, and we're actually going to film around like the same forest area and everything where the legend is actually from. So I was told that it's going to be the first movie that's a Western movie that's using sort of like the title Yiren, so that's going to be interesting. And then when we go to Japan, we're doing Hibigon, which is Japan's version of Bigfoot, which is on the bottom of the Hiba Mountains. So we're actually going to film on the bottom of the Hiba Mountains, and there's an old like temple and everything that's kind of in ruins. So we're going to film a lot around that. So it's going to be really interesting architecture and culture that we're putting within the film. And we're also filming parts of those movies within Chinatown here in Calgary, as well as Chinatown in Vancouver. So we're going to have some local flair sort of put in with like actual other locations, because not all of our actors can hop on a plane and fly into China or fly to Japan. So, you know, passports, visas, everything else. So yeah.
That's amazing. And can you tell us briefly, you mentioned creatures, how did you get your start into the directing, producing side? Where did you start off, I guess, in the film industry?
Well, when I first started, I was just doing creature effects and sort of like costume design. So I was basically just building the costumes for other people's movies and sort of like small TV shows. And then, you know, COVID happened and everybody wasn't really working. And then I was like, okay, you know what? I built this costume let's get together a bunch of people. So I got together with about a dozen people, and we literally filmed the movie during COVID. And the movie became extremely controversial, and it's literally what helped me, the controversy helped me to get a signed distribution deal.
Wow.
So I'm not telling everyone to go out there and make a movie that's going to get banned in Canada, because that's actually not really a good thing to do, because you want to get film funding grants, and then it makes you very hard to get those once you have a film that's banned in Canada. But I've gotten different cultural grants to actually hire Asian performers who literally speak their own language within a film. So that's the only sort of grant, and I use a lot of like independent funding that comes from like distributors, and I now have 16 different platforms that my films are played on, like Fave Some. It's going to be on Apple Play, I think, or something sometime very soon. Like a lot of stuff is coming within the next month or two. But there's basically about 16 different streaming services.
Okay.
And then DVD, Blu-ray sold through 3 different agents. So yeah.
So what is a piece of advice that you give to an aspiring filmmaker who's looking to start out, or maybe looking to make that leap?
The first thing I would say to someone is work with friends at first. Don't invest with your friends, but work with your friends. Investing with your friends is always bad, because then it'll end friendships, especially if your movie doesn't do well. But invest time and energy with a close group. Build a team. Build a team, that's the first thing. I'm gonna have, like, basically by the end of this year, I'm gonna have 20 feature films. So for a small independent film production company in Canada, that's a big number. Most people are around for like 20 years and they get that, like one film a year. Myself, I do minimum 3 feature films a year, up to 5 feature films a year. So yeah, I'm constantly busy all the time. So today, the media is very different. So the more you're busy, the more you get new pictures out, the more you get something fresh that people can see, the more it makes people, oh, I want to see that, I want to see that. And try and find one person that has a little famous. Now I've worked and I've signed contracts with Playboy, so I've used Playboy Asian models to literally act in my films. And again, those girls have big followings on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So the deal is, okay, we sign a contract, this is what you're getting, but you need to post, twice a week for this many weeks and tag us in your post. So you do stuff like that, so you're working together. And try to communicate with as many local radio stations that you can, local podcasts, people that can review your film and can get you positive. And like what I said is, even if a movie has a negative review, it still has a review. I had one movie that actually had terrible reviews, but it's my 3rd biggest selling movie on DVD. But it has terrible reviews. People literally I was like, okay, people hate to love it, I guess. So everything's a little different. Because sometimes film critics are very creaky. And sometimes you'll pick film critics, especially genre film critics. Like, you want to, like, if you're making a drama, you want to talk to someone who, like, reviews dramas, soap operas and stuff. You don't want to go into someone who does reviews and critiques for, like, horror films. Like, for me, I've gone to, like, 65 Days of Horror, I've gone to Trauma Now podcast, I hit a lot of podcastings and stuff that are very genre specific, especially for like the kind of films that I do. And with me too, I make everything practical, which actually gives more hands-on work with everyone. And I like to, as much as I'm doing a lot of things, I like to always bring other people in on the films and kind of teach them how to do stuff. Like we have like a lot of makeup artists. Like I've gone to the makeup schools, and I'm like, I'm making a movie and I need some students. And I walked in, and some people were super eager, and then I walked right up, and it was the quiet, like little girl who was like knew from Hong Kong. She was great, and she worked with me on like 3 movies doing makeup. But she was like super quiet and shy and timid. And I was like, you have no problem talking with most of my cast and crew. It's okay. You can go speak in your own language. It's fine. And then she's like, really? She's like very shy, very timid. Like she never thought about doing special effects makeup. She wanted to do like wedding makeup and stuff.
Wow.
And doing wedding photography. That's what she was looking at, and she was studying makeup. But she ended up getting into doing a lot of special effects like makeup with herself. So yeah, she ended up liking that because it opened and broadened her horizons, what she was capable of doing, which opens up more doors for work.
Right. Amazing. Well, that's all we got. So thank you so much, Elliot. Appreciate your time.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
And remember to keep going to the movies, because it's the people who buy tickets to the movies is the most important thing. There are too many small movie theaters that are closing down because people are staying at home and turning on their computers. You need to grab your girlfriend and you need to take her on a proper date. I mean, women love a proper date. They want the popcorn, and maybe you can hide a ring in the popcorn, and go to a movie. I mean, you never know.
That'd be a great story.
A little romantic story you could throw.
absolutely.
You'd have to say Elliot told you about it, though.
Yeah, that's right. I appreciate it so
Okay.
much, and I hope
Alright.
you have a great rest of the Fascination.
We will. Now, Fascination Asian Film Festival is a great event. It's been here for 5 years now, down here at the Calgary Public Library in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. It's really great. I love flying down here from Vancouver. It's only a 1-hour flight. So everyone out in Vancouver or Edmonton or Winnipeg or Toronto, it's not far to fly here. Fly here, check it out. You get to see the city, and there's a lot of nice people in this city.
You heard it here first. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. I love that. It was a beautiful plug at the end. Oh.
Hey, Splatter fans. This is Dynamite Karate Ninja, the guy who wrote the theme song to Skunk Ape. And I have a problem, and you have a problem. The world has a problem. And that is the fact that people take guitars to campfires just so they can sing Wonderwall one more time. And we can't allow this to happen anymore. So I'm going to fix this right now. I'm going to teach you how to play Skunk Ape on the guitar so we can save the planet one campfire at a time. First thing you're going to do is start with an A chord. If it sounds like that, very good, you're doing good. Go to an E, then go to the D, get your mind out of the gutter, and then back to A. That's the verse. Skunk Ape, kinda like Bigfoot, but not that great. Okay, so the leads are actually done vocally in bass register, and the harmonies are done in the higher, because I was bored and I had no idea what I'm doing, and that's how I play. So if you pretend well enough, people will think you know what you're doing too. So for the chorus, we're going to go to the C chord, which is slightly less boring but still pretty boring. D, and then A. Now there's an interesting thing here. We're going to lift up on one of the strums from A to an open, back to A. So it goes like this: C, D, A, and lift. Hold on. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. We'll edit that part out. So, or you can leave it in for the special features, because this is how things happen. So to put it together, it sounds like this: Skunk Ape, kinda like Bigfoot, but not that great. Skunk Ape, living in the southeast United States, smaller in stature but pungent in smell. Show yourself in public and come out of your shell. Give us rights to your film. Florida man wants to hang out with you. And so you just do that over and over again, and now we're actually going to do a sing-along. So let's put the words at the bottom, and let's see what happens. Dedicated to the Skunk Ape. Skunk Ape, kinda like Bigfoot, but not that great. Skunk Ape, living in the southeast United States, smaller in stature but pungent in smell. Show yourself in public and come out of your shell. Florida man wants to hang out with you. Wants to see what kind of trouble that you both can get into. Skunk yourself a millionaire as fast as you can. Smaller in stature, but pungent in smell. Show yourself in public and come out of your shell. Give us rights to your bill. Florida man wants to hang out with you. Wants to see what kind of trouble that you both can get into. Skunky, skunky, dirty ape. Who really cares how bad you smell? Let's go on down to the Cape. Go start a party and throw down well. Let's go to the beach and pick up some girls. Spring break starting all across the world. Gonna throw all our swine to the pearls. Skunk ape, kinda like Bigfoot, but not that great. Skunk ape, living in the southeast United States. Skunk ape, skunk ape, skunk ape. And you end on the E chord, yeah. So that's it. That's it. Just follow along with the chord changes and hope for the best, and may God have mercy on your souls.
So these are just a few behind the scenes photos, like still shots that we took while we were filming. And, you know, it's just all the different actors we had in the film Skunk Ape. And Skunk Ape was a movie that was done very different than my normal films. I didn't put as much special effects. I made it more like an 80s comedy mixed with a monster movie. And I'm going to kind of do that with the other films too, because Skunk Ape was the first movie that I did where I was dealing with different legends similar to Bigfoot. So I'll be doing a few other films. I'll actually be filming in China and Japan for their versions of Bigfoot, basically like the Yiren and the Hebigon. And the Yiren's China's version, and the Hebigon is Japan's version. So I'm actually going to be flying out to Japan and China to film. So here we are flying away. Say goodbye to Canada. We'll see you soon with brand new movies.